Greetings. Welcome to episode 6, Nanaiya Spirit Medicine. I am Nanaiya, your host this evening, and tonight we are going to be talking about addiction to everything. The prison of the mind and the doorway back to the body. But first I'd like you to take a slow, deep, and controlled breath with me so that you can come into center and be more present. If you're masculine divine, please place your left hand over the center of your heart and your right hand over the left. And if you're feminine divine, switch it over and put your left over your right. And we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And we're going to hold it for 4 seconds by suspending the breath. Not with force, but suspension and relaxation. Okay? So take a deep breath in. Drop your shoulders. Release. Push that air all the way out. Very good. And just sit here for a moment and think about how that breath felt. Just slow and controlled breath now. How does it feel to be breathing? Be present with that breath. Pretty good, huh? So breathing should not be for performance breath all the time. It should, there's somatic breath work where that is performance, where you're controlling the breath and working with the body with it. It should not be forced. Just noticing the breath, that's all. Just notice it, that it's there. That's being present. Because what we're about to talk about is not just addiction to substances, but it's addiction to thinking. And that's where we lose track of breath. There's addiction to stimulation, suffering, chaos, productivity, validation, control, distraction, spirituality, healing, being the victim, being the savior. Addiction to everything. And at the root of it all, my friends, is the prison of the mind and the doorway back to the body. And addiction is not about the substance. Okay? Say that with me. Addiction is not about the substance. Let's dismantle something first. Addiction is not about alcohol. It's not about food, social media, not even about heroin, drugs. The substance is only the surface. Addiction is a nervous system attempting to regulate itself. And when we look at the brain, particularly the nucleus accumbens, the center of the brain's reward circuitry, we see something fascinating there. This region, along with the ventral tegmental area, what neuroscientists call the mesolimbic dopamine pathway, this lights up not because something is bad, but because something promises relief. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. It is the anticipation chemical. It is the maybe this will fix it chemical. Every addiction begins with pain, sadly. And that pain is almost always emotional or relational before it ever becomes chemical. Think about that. Anything that you have an addiction to. A child who grows up unseen learns to crave intensity. I know I did. A nervous system raised in chaos becomes addicted to chaos because calm feels unfamiliar, even unsafe. So what we call addiction is often a body trying to recreate a familiar frequency, even if that frequency is suffering. And the real prison is living in the head. So now let's go a little bit deeper. Addiction becomes chronic when attention lives primarily in the head. If your awareness is always in your thoughts, your life becomes small and repetitive, cramped, anxious. You can travel the world and still live inside a cage if your attention never leaves the mind. The mind is prediction machine mechanism. Its job is to scan for threat and solve problems. It runs simulations of the future. It replays the past. It constructs identity narratives. Here's the issue with that. The mind cannot regulate your nervous system, no matter what you think. And that's the problem, you're thinking, not breathing. Only the body can. And when you live primarily in thought, you disconnect the sensation. And when you disconnect from sensation, you disconnect from regulation. I've done it. That disconnection creates discomfort so much in your life. I was an avid cannabis user for many, many years, and I know it has its place on the planet. It's a very healing plant, but it gets abused. And I used it to kill pain that I didn't want to deal with. I used it to relax my nervous system, but really what it did was it just kind of sugar-coated everything. And that was disconnection, and that was discomfort for me. And that discomfort seeks relief. And then you enter addiction. You're scrolling, you're snacking, you're gossiping, you're overworking, you're over-exercising. Oh my gosh, I know so many people who live at the gym and don't do anything else. And they think that that's a good thing. They don't have a social life. They don't have a love life. They don't do anything for themselves other than go to the gym. And that's just not healthy. You may think it is, but it's not. Or, they're dealing with pornography or shopping, spiritual bypassing. All attempts to avoid sensation. Smoking. Addiction is not the craving for substance. It is the avoidance of feeling. Trauma and the loop that we get caught in. Let's talk about the trauma. Trauma is not what happened to you. Oh. Trauma is what happened inside you when what happened was too much. How you responded in the mind. And when the body cannot process and experience, it freezes up. Unprocessed emotions do not disappear. It just loops over and over again. And addiction becomes a way to interrupt the loop. And when dopamine spikes, it temporarily overrides pain circuits. And for a brief moment, the body feels relief. But after the spike, dopamine drops lower than baseline, okay? And what creates more discomfort, which creates more craving, then the neurochemical trap is there. And if you layer shame on top of it, it shouldn't be like this, or what's wrong with me, I'll never change, I never have what I want, and I'm never good enough. You strengthen that loop. That's not very positive thinking. Shame is like gasoline on addiction. Don't shame yourself. Rise above everything. Tell yourself how wonderful you are. Bless yourself. Love yourself. Pay attention to that breath. When you start having that thinking, come back into breath and take a deep breath. Just suspend it. Then release. Feels so good. That's the moment. That's the presence. You can be nowhere else but right here. Presence is exactly where you are. But being conscious of that presence is what we're trying to get to. And here is where addiction to identity gets even more subtle. We can become addicted to our identity by being an overachiever, or the broken one, the healer, the rescuer, the rebel, the strong one who needs no one, the codependent. Identity gives predictability. And even if the identity is painful, you may unconsciously sabotage peace because peace threatens the identity your nervous system has memorized. This is why people leave healthy relationships and return to chaos. It happens every day. This is why so many people achieve success and then self-destruct. Because calm is unfamiliar territory. They're not comfortable there. And the nervous system would rather choose familiar pain than unfamiliar peace. That's very strange. Think about it. And then there's the spiritual trap. Now I'm going to say something that might challenge some of you here. You can be addicted to spirituality. Absolutely. To ascension, to awakening, to downloads, to constant healing, to higher frequency. And if spirituality is used to avoid grief, or fear, or anger, it becomes another substance. And I've been a trance medium all of my life. And being in that higher dimension is a way to escape what's happening in the body. And I have recently just shut down my website, and I've stopped channeling and stopped doing readings and clearings for clients because it's a lot to hold on to. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of frequency, and it's hard on the body. I'm guided. God's light is within me all the time. And when I want to tap in, I go into my breath and I tap into it. But it's for me right now. You cannot transcend what you refuse to feel, no matter how tapped in you are. The body is the gateway. And it's a beautiful thing. Not the mind, not the concept, not the belief. The body. Okay, two different frequencies. So what is the way out? What's the doorway back into the body? It's not willpower. Willpower is function of the prefrontal cortex. And under stress, that region goes offline. And it does it for everyone. And addiction cannot be healed by force. I tried in my marriage. You know, the addiction that I was living with in my marriage, I was addicted to trying to fix it, to try to heal it. But his addiction to other things made it impossible because he chose that over life. He chose it over breath. He chose it over presence. And no matter how much I loved, no matter how much I gave, no matter how much support I was there for, no matter how much I lied for him, that addiction stayed. It was not within my power. It is healed by regulation only. Regulation begins with sensation. So notice your feet right now. Close your eyes for a moment again. Notice your breath. Relax your jaw. Just breathe slow. This sounds simple. I know, but it is not. Because when you drop into the body, you meet what you've been running from. You meet the grief, the loneliness, the rage, the fear, the emptiness within. But here's the truth. Sensation moves. Thoughts loop. Sensation moves. Thoughts loop. We want to be where sensation is moving us. And if you allow a feeling fully in the body without story, it crests and falls like a wave. And it falls hard. This is why practice like slow breathing, somatic awareness, cold exposure, shaking, crying, humming. Humming activates the vagus nerve. These regulate that vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the communication highway between brain and body. That's why mantras are so powerful. We do it 108 times. Make it powerful, make the body start awakening. And when it's toned, you feel without drowning. When it's dysregulated, you reach for relief. Addiction hijacks attention. Healing reclaims it. And every time you interrupt autopilot and come back to sensation, you weaken the addiction pathway. Neuroplasticity is real, my friends. The brain rewires based on repetition. So if you want to do something good for yourself, rewire your brain with positive thinking. If you want to work with the thinking, excuse me, put the positive thoughts in there, not the self-destruction. But you must build tolerance for feeling, not with intensity, okay? Just feeling. Peace can feel boring at first, I know. Because you have all that thought going on. If I'm not thinking, I'm not being productive. Stillness can feel terrifying at the same time. That's not failure. That's a detox from all the chaos in your life. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a hug. And it's compassion over control. If you're struggling with addiction to anything, you are not weak. You are not broken. Your nervous system adapted to survive something. None of us are perfect. I most certainly am not. I've battled my own addictions to alcohol and drugs and relationships. And survival strategies, when overused, become prisons in the mind. The key is not to fight the prison. It's to unlock the door by turning toward the body with gentleness, with curiosity, with compassion. So ask yourself right now, close your eyes and ask yourself, what am I avoiding feeling right now? Just sit with this for a moment. Think about that breath and what am I avoiding feeling right now? That is where freedom begins. Addiction is not the enemy, my friend. It is the messenger. It says, hey, there is pain here. There is discomfort here. There is unmet need here. The prison is the mind looping stories. That's all it is. The doorway is the body feeling sensation, and that's where we want to be. It's where we need to live. And every time you choose to feel instead of escape, you come home. So thank you for being here. This is Nanaiya Medicine. And the medicine is not outside of you. It has always been in your body. Take one more deep, controlled breath, please. And now release. Be gentle to yourself. And I'll see you in the next transmission. Blessings to you.